JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, police investigate fatal shooting of St. Andrew man. The police are probing the circumstances surrounding the shooting death of a man in St. Andrew yesterday. It is alleged that the man was shot and killed after he expressed strong disapproval to a motorist who was driving recklessly. Dead is a 39-year-old shopkeeper, Dwight McDonald, otherwise called Wani, of Landlease, Papine in St. Andrew. According to reports, about 3 p.m. yesterday, McDonald was standing along the Gordontown Road in the vicinity of the University of Technology back gate when he noticed a silver car driving past recklessly and almost hitting a child. He shouted out some profanities to the occupant of the vehicle, who alighted from the car and opened gunfire, hitting McDonald to his head and upper body. The driver then made good his escape. McDonald died on the spot. Man charged for sexually assaulting 70-year-old woman. A man is now facing several offences under the Larceny, Sexual Offences and Offences Against a Person Acts after he allegedly used a knife to wound a 70-year-old woman before sexually assaulting her and robbing her in St. Anne after he offered to carry her grocery bag. 44-year-old Karen Morrison, otherwise called Wayne or Excel, of Fern Grove, Ucharas in the parish, is to answer to his charges when his court date is finalized. According to the police, the senior citizen was walking in the Fern Grove community when she was approached by Morrison, who offered to carry her grocery bag. The police said during the journey, Morrison pulled a knife on the complainant and wounded her before sexually assaulting her and robbing her for a cellular phone valued at $8,500 and $1,500 in cash. The incident occurred on Friday, October 2, about 3 p.m. Morrison was subsequently apprehended and charged with robbery with aggravation, grievous sexual assault, and unlawful wounding. 5 more COVID-19 deaths, 79 new cases. The country has recorded 5 additional COVID-19 related deaths and 79 new cases of the virus in the last 24 hours. The death toll now stands at 151 and the number of confirmed cases at 7,989. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the 5 deaths include 2 women aged 53 and 58, both with Westmoreland addresses, a 75-year-old man, a 72-year-old man, both from St. Catherine, and a 65-year-old man from Kingston and St. Andrew were also among the deaths. The ministry noted that 4 of the deaths were previously listed as under investigation. Of the 79 new cases, there were 29 males and 50 females, with ages ranging from 6 to 96 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew, 28, Manchester, 19, St. Catherine, 12, St. Anne, 8, Westmoreland, 5, Clarendon, and St. Mary, 2 each. Hanover, Trelawney, St. James recorded 1 each. The country also recorded 128 recoveries, bringing the total number of recoveries to 3,431. Security Minister cautions against weakening of Zozos. Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang is cautioning against the weakening of the Zone of Special Operations Zozo program, now running in 4 communities across the country, amid an increasing calls for its expansion. He was speaking yesterday in the House of Representatives, which approved extensions for Zozos currently running in Mount Salem, Denham Town, Greenwich Town, and August Town. A Zozo is aimed at curbing the nation's crime through security force occupation of vulnerable communities and intense social intervention. Opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips and St. Anne South Eastern Member of Parliament Lisa Hanna were among those batting for the expansion of the program into other troubled communities. We call for an extension into critical communities aimed at staunchly quelling, containing, overcoming the wave of murders that threatens to overwhelm us now and which is a dagger to the well-being of the society and the economy, said Phillips. But Chang cautioned against diluting the crime-fighting strategy, while reiterating that although some 20 to 25 communities meet the criteria for Zozos, the resources available to the government are limited. He also said that at best, the program could only accommodate some 6 more communities if Zozos are to run simultaneously. One of the things we have to be careful of is that the zones of special operations does exactly what we say it should. Therefore, as a special program, we must be careful that we do not dilute in initiating development programs, he stated. Anna had argued that the social intervention and development components of Zozo are desperately needed in other communities. It's a combination of security and development, said Chang, but it is dedicated to a number of particularly challenged communities. The minister said, while communities remain in need of the measure, resources in terms of security personnel are lacking. He said too that the government does not yet have the budget to facilitate further expansion of the program. The security minister said with the expectation of international agencies and partners getting involved over time, the program is likely to expand. At that time, he said the aim would be to have the social intervention component at the forefront of the operation. In July, Prime Minister Andrew Holness had said that up to 20 communities across the island met the criteria for Zozo, and funds were set aside in the budget for this fiscal year for Zozos. Record number of wards qualify for tertiary studies. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency is celebrating a record number of wards of the state qualifying to matriculate into universities, buoyed by outstanding performances in the Caribbean Examinations Council administered test in the summer. Some 117 wards were successful in getting 4 or more Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, and Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination CAPE studies. The CPFSA is looking forward to them joining 230 current or former wards now enrolled in tertiary programs, including vocational skills training through a partnership with the Heart NSTA Trust. Audrey Budai, Director of Children and Family Programs at the CPFSA, said that a special support structure was put in place to ensure the wards were both academically and psychologically ready for their examinations after schools were closed in March and the teaching went online. We are extremely proud and happy for our children. The strategy has been intentional, especially this year with COVID-19, she said, tipping her hat to caregivers, house mothers, managers, psychologists, and foster parents for their work with the wards. Ainsley Roden, who has now completed grade 11 at the B.B. Koch High School in St. Elizabeth, was one of the star performers, securing 14 CSEC subjects after picking up 9 subjects this year to add to the 5 he had previously passed. Budai said with the COVID-19 economic crunch, the CPFSA has found the going rough in garnering sponsorships, but she's still happy that the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information has committed to pay tuition for wards enrolling into universities and colleges. This year it has been really difficult in seeking sponsorship because COVID-19 has made it hard for everybody. A lot of the private funds usually come from the diaspora, but that has also taken a hit because their fundraisers have also been negatively impacted by the pandemic, explained Budai. She said that for students entering vocational and other learning institutions, the CPFSA funds their studies from its budget and a sponsorship pool. Government Eyes Jobs pumps $4.6 billion into road project. The government has earmarked $4.6 billion towards the construction of the new toll road from Maple in Clarendon to Williamsfield in Manchester, which is expected to generate hundreds of jobs beginning this month. Finance and the Public Service Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, who made the announcement in Parliament yesterday, said that the project would involve the construction of bridges, box culverts, and drainage structures. Debating the second supplementary estimates of expenditure, which was approved by the House, Clark said that local aggregate suppliers would be called on to supply all such material for the project. We will see more than 100 truckers being employed in transporting material through the construction phase of this project, he told his parliamentary colleagues. Clark reported that the economy is expected to plunge by 7.9% and that the debt to GDP ratio would increase to about 103%. We have not borrowed anymore. The pernicious nature of debt in a small economy, open, fragile, undiversified is such that with the onset of a global pandemic like this, without any careless action on our part, without any borrowing in a reckless way, our debt to GDP ratio climbs by 10 points, he asserted. We need to do all that we can to contain its further rise, the finance minister said. The government has increased expenditure by $15.7 billion in the second supplementary estimates of expenditure. The budget that the government has put forward contains the maximum amount of increased expenditure that we think is consistent with responding to the crisis on the one hand, and on the other hand, not losing the sustainability that we have worked so hard to achieve. Opposition spokesman on finance Mark Golding suggested that the government could take advantage of the low interest rates on the local or international markets to inject more stimuli in an economy that was on a downward spiral. He also said the fund's source could be used as a social expenditure to address the dire situation faced by vulnerable Jamaicans. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.